cracking the code interview, write an algorithm such that if an element in an m by n matrix is 0, so it could be a rectangle matrix, its entire row and column is set to 0. So that's the problem. So what that means, like, take this matrix for example, that's has 3 rows and 4 columns. If if you find a 0, you want to set the whole entire row to 0 and that column. So you would have 0, 0, 0, and 0, 0. And then the only other zeros here, so then you set 0, 0, 0, and 0, 0, 0. So what you want is just a bunch, and that you want to return an end all zeros except this 4 and a 7 because there's no zeros here, 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 and here. My first approach was to, you just iterate through, see, what did I have I say? Instantiate a blank m by n matrix, and then make a copy of it. Then that's just maybe make a copy of it instead. Then iterate through the original, and if you found a 0, then change all the zeros into the copy, and change all the calls to that copy. So that's what you want to do. What I end up doing is, so what you do is you do 2 passes through the array. The first pass, you find the rows that are a 0, and you keep track of it in this rows column of, maybe I should title this better, but maybe I can call it rows 0. Oops. Row 0, and then we'll call this columns call 0. This just keeps track that the rows that have a 0 and the columns have 0. So first pass does that. It gets all the rows and columns that have a 0 in it. So in this case, rows would be a 0 and 2, right? Because it's the first row and the third row. And then columns, it would be 0 and 3, since there's no zeros in the first or in the second or third. And then your second pass is you just change the matrix, and you find, so you go, for row index and row, for row index that you're at and the row itself in the matrix, and for, I like to use the enumerate with the Python, and then for column index and the column that you're in, such as just the element, in each row, if the row index is in the rows of 0, then change the matrix, the original one that you have, its index and its column index that you had, to 0. And same thing for column index. Same thing for that'll do all the rows, so that will turn like all of this into 0 until all this to zeros. But what we want to do is the tricky kind of part is turn this 1 into a 0 and this 8 into a 0, right? Since it's in the same column. And this is what line 36 through 37 will do. If the column index is in 0 or call 0, then do the same thing. And then, so if we run this, what we get is what we want. The top layer is all zeros, bottom layer is all zeros. The sides are zeros in the middle, and they just get that 4, 7. That's that. Maybe we can do like for row in blank print row. This will be a little bit prettier. Oh. See, so that's exactly what we want, right? And that's kind of, the basic. I haven't found a better way of doing it. I looked at the solution. It was kind of very similar. So the runtime is just linear because it's just running through the matrix twice. So it'll be MN to MN, which is still linear. It's a constant. That's it. Yeah, and the space time too is linear as well. It's just MN. So because you don't grow, each row doesn't grow throughout its column and stuff like that. Kind of hard way to say that, but yeah, and that's how you do that problem, which is If an element is 0, its entire row and column should be set to 0.